If you've ever worked or wondered why your body reacts to food, whether it's a food allergy, a sensitivity, or just feeling off after eating, this is exactly what we are breaking down today. I am just working on getting my screen set up, so please bear with me. So, this is part one of a four-part series called Gut Truth Series: Food Reactions, Gut Health, and What Your Body Has Been Trying to Tell You. Today, we're going to walk through the difference between food allergies and sensitivities, why reactions happen, and how to start recognizing the patterns within your own body. So, what are you going to learn today? Our objective. We're going to define what the difference between food allergies and sensitivities are, why reactions happen, and I'm going to try as plain of language to help you with this. What a reaction could look like beyond the extremes, and how to begin to recognize patterns within your own body. Now, I want to remind you that this is for educational purposes only. I do not treat, cure, or diagnose. But before we go deeper into this, I want to know, who am I talking to? Have you ever felt off after eating but could not fully explain why? Go ahead in that comment section and comment as simple of a word as yes to any of these questions, or a I've never thought of that. But let's see the responses within that comment section, whether you're live or you're catching on replay. I will respond either way. Next question. Have you ever been told things look normal on blood work by a doctor, but yet something still feels off with inside? You feel like something isn't right? It's okay whether you've had one or both, or there's something else, but you just aren't quite feeling right around food, or maybe there's a food story. I don't know what it is, but I just want to know, what is your food story? What is your, um, have you ever felt off after eating? Have you ever been told everything is normal? Go ahead and put that in the comment section. Just know you are not alone. In America, 85 million Americans are dealing with some sort of reaction to food, whether that would be food allergies or food sensitivities. One of them in America, 85, 85 million Americans have some sort of problem that they're dealing with. So, who am I to be speaking on this topic, on this very topic of food allergies? And I just noticed that my dog picture did not show up. I don't know why. That's a technical issue. We'll see that next week. But, anyways, who am I? My own journey, I started in 2017. I kind of knew a little bit beforehand, but it was never really explained to me. Um, I was one that started seeing a naturopathic doctor back in 2011. By 2012, we knew something was going on with eggs, but he was naturopathic. He couldn't treat, cure, or diagnose. And so, with all of that being said, um, we are ones that kind of knew before, but didn't really know what was going on. Can you guys see my screen at all? Or am I having technical difficulties? I just pulled up my. Hold on one second. I think I'm having technical difficulties on the sharing. We got to love our technology issues some days. We're just here to try and figure this out. Um, for whatever reason, my slide deck is not working. Um, so please forgive me on that. It should have been working. I don't know why. I'm going to try one more time, and if this doesn't work, well, we'll just scratch it for this week and we'll see how it goes for next week. All right. Yeah, the slides are not working this week. So please forgive me on that. We'll go without the slides this week. And we'll just pick back up. And now you can just at least see my face. Gotta love technology, right? So now that we've figured this out, that the slide is not working, we'll just go with, I've got notes that I've been looking at, which is a good thing because now I don't have my slides to bounce me off. So my story, it started in primarily in 2017 when I had trying to figure out what was going on after a motor vehicle accident. And with that being said, I started doing my own research and noticed that trauma could change your DNA. Well, I went to my Western med doctor that I had at the time and I said, "Hey, can we look into this?" And he was on board. And at the end of March, early April of 2017, it came out that I had a bunch of food intolerances. Same with my kiddo. I also was diagnosed with celiac at that time too. But it didn't stop at intolerances. And it started with the Western med doctor looking at us and saying, "You got to take out gluten, dairy, corn, soy, peanuts, almonds, and eggs. Take it all out. Food, non-food. Here's a little bit of paperwork, information about where it could be. Have a nice day." I myself had to go ahead and spend hours on end trying to figure out what is what. I want to know over in that comment section, have you had a similar story where doctors will tell you that this is what you have, here's some paperwork, go figure it out on your own? That was my story. It was not clear. It was not a roadmap that said, all right, so you have all of these allergies with gluten. You need to be watching your paper products like toilet paper and paper plates. That's the non food stuff. For food stuff, you got to watch out for toothpaste and shampoos. And the list is long. Probably the hardest one that we've been having to figure out is corn because corn is covered up by chemical names. But at any rate, our food intolerances later turned to food allergies, which later turned, some of them turned to airborne allergies. This is part of what played into me um, being such a voice, not only for myself, but for people just like you, trying to navigate this world and not being able to know all of the answers right offhand because our doctors don't have all the answers, and that's okay. But let's start with some clarity because we don't want confusion. I said intolerances that turn to allergies. Well, food allergies, typically there's an immediate response. There can be a delayed response, though. That's the gray zone that makes it a little harder to distinguish. But with food allergies, the immune system is involved, and reactions obviously can be more severe, life threatening. A food sensitivity, on the other hand, can be delayed, often is delayed by hours. It's less obvious. It does not involve the immune system and is frequently missed or dismissed and could be diagnosed as something else. And this is important because if you only look for immediate reactions, you're going to miss a lot of what your body is trying to be telling you. So, why is this so confusing? The kind of stuck in the mud type of confusion. Allergic reactions don't always happen right away. Same with food sensitivities. But symptoms don't always clearly point back to food. And different foods can create similar responses and or like some of my allergic reactions are different than what the normal allergic reactions are. And that's what gets confusing to people is, well, what is she really dealing with? Is it food allergies or is it something else? But it's always pointed back to the food and foods that I've been around or foods that I've consumed. I've not consumed any of it since 2017. But that's what makes it tricky is knowing your body and how it reacts to a food. Yes, it may be different than what the Western medicine terminology is talking about, but we need to be aware, body aware. So, what counts as a reaction? Let's expand what we think of a reaction because most people look for the extremes, the cutting off of the airway, the tightness of the chest, um, hives, those normal types of reactions. But did you know that allergic reactions can show up as changes in your skin, your digestion, your energy, mood, or focus? And if you have two or more of these systems that are reacting at the same time, it really could point towards an allergic reaction. I want to know in the comments section, did you know that fact? That two or more may be leading to an allergic reaction. But when these things happen consistently, but subtly, they're often overlooked. Why? Because a lot of people think allergic reactions affects the airway only, but that's not the case. As I've explained, for me, last time I had eggs, ingested eggs, my eyes kind of went a little weird. Like my vision was not the best. That's just one of the weird ones that I have. Now I'm airborne to eggs, so I can't even be in the same room as there are eggs. Um, you know, knowing how my body reacts, knowing how it comes around with food. And I don't want you to be hyper vigilant. I just want you to be aware. Is something off when I ingest it? Is it not? Yes or no? Maybe there could be a gray zone. Always could be a gray zone. But let's look what is happening within the body. When you have a food allergy, the allergic reaction, your immune system is identifying something as harmful and is responding to protect you. So your gut health, your gut is saying, hey, we have an intruder alert, right? So then it sends all the protectors to come and protect your body. So your body is not reacting randomly. It believes it's doing its job. It's responding the same way as it would to something dangerous. Like you cut your arm and it's bleeding. Um, it's not going to be as big, but your body is going to come or your body is going to respond to a cut in your arm or wherever there may be a cut. It's just kind of the same way, is that your body is responding to that invader. And that's why reactions can escalate so quickly. Sometimes they're slow, but they can escalate quickly. And that, when it escalates quickly, is what separates an allergy from a sensitivity. And again, I want to be able to make this clear. An allergic reaction affects the immune system. Sensitivities only affect the rest of the body. Um, so, allergy, immune system. So, why does the body react? Let's zoom out a little bit. Why does the body start reacting in the first place? There are a few common patterns: repeated exposure, increased load on the body, difficulty processing certain inputs. Um, it can come down to the types of foods, the highly processed foods to the sugary foods, um, not consuming whole foods can affect the body. And over time, your body may start responding differently. That may not happen, but it may respond differently. And that is the key, is to be able to self-check after you are done eating some eating a food, whether it be green beans. I know that's not a top allergen, but allergic reactions can happen to any type of food. In the United States, we have top nine, but if you're curious on knowing which are the top nine, go ahead in the comments section and ask. But have you ever slowed down while you are eating to really process, not watch TV, not pick up your phone, but to really enjoy the food, enjoy the process of eating and noticing how your body is reacting. Or are you just like, I'm always busy. I have to consume whatever I can eat in 2 seconds. No judgment zone. Which one are you? Are you the one that just consumes something in 2 seconds because that is all the time allows? Or are you one that has stopped and enjoyed food, no distractions, and really are aware of what your body is doing? That is two extremes, and it's okay if you're in the middle. It's okay if you're at one of the ends. Um, but the key is knowing reactions are signals, but your body may not need to get to a actual reaction to be giving the signals that something's going on. You may just start with like a little upset stomach and be like, oof, that didn't set right, to a, ooh, I'm starting to feel itchy. You know, for kids, they might say, this is spicy. And you know that the foods are not spicy. To the whole aspect of their ears itch while they are eating. Those are kind of random ones, but often seen within kids. Kids that are being body aware, knowing what's going on and saying, hey, this feels off, this is too spicy. But as adults, don't always take into those cues of, oh, my kid is saying that this is too spicy, but it really is not spicy at all. I know it's not. To, oh, the ears, they itch every now and then. It's no big deal. But that is just an example of a kid being body aware of what is going on. And sometimes kids are more body aware than adults because they just haven't had the years to be like, oh, well, this is just my normal. This is how I am with this food. But the signals are not random. They are little, I hate to say this when it comes to food allergies, but they're little breadcrumbs along the way. They're little breadcrumbs saying, hey, what you're consuming, I'm not I'm not liking this. Oh, you're not responding. I'm going to start to yell quietly. And then the next one is, I'm really going to yell at you because you're not listening. And I've been telling you for the past 4 or 5 breadcrumbs that I've been reacting. So it's one of those, it's okay if you're not to the point of being able to see the fine crumbs. It's okay. When you start to become more body aware, that's when you'll start to see the finer crumbs. So instead of guessing, we start asking better questions. Like, when did this start happening? What did I eat before this? So, say we had, it's lunchtime right now here in Minnesota, is where I live. And it's lunchtime in Central Time. And okay, we're eating lunch, right? Eating our lunch. And say within 5 minutes, you're starting to feel something. Okay, what did I just eat? Or was it stress from work earlier in the day? Start evaluating, asking yourself the questions. Maybe it's a few hours later, and all of a sudden now you just have this slump of the day and you're all of a sudden really exhausted. What have you consumed throughout the day to be able to have this afternoon slump? Were you consuming foods that fuel you, or were you consuming foods that fueled you for the moment? Because there is a difference in the fuel type. It's just like we would go to the gas station and say your car is a gasoline car, but instead you put diesel into it. You may get down the road a little ways. You may. But then all of a sudden, that engine's going to clonk out and it's not going to work properly. It's kind of like how allergic reactions happen, is consuming the wrong foods for your body. Um, but you may not always know that. The tricky part is allergic reactions can happen at any time. Like for me, I'm an adult onset for food allergies. My kiddo, she honestly was a kid when we found out. So at any age, allergic reactions could happen. You could be consuming the same foods for years and all of a sudden have an allergic reaction. So then the next question, so we have, when did this happen? What did I eat before this? Then you also want to ask yourself, does this happen consistently? This is how you start to shift that confusion in the muddy waters and start bringing into awareness with your body. You don't need to overanalyze because we don't want to freak yourself out. We don't want to go to the other side and be like, I'm reacting to every single food. But no, you're not going to react to, I pray that you do not react to every food. But you should be able to start realizing, hey, I'm not reacting to this food in the best ways, but this food, it fuels me. I can have energy for hours on end and I can be able to get my stuff done. There is a difference, obviously, with that. And you just need to start noticing, start paying attention to what is going on. So, next week, I should hopefully have the slide issue figured out where we can be able to have the nice, pretty slides up. Um, but next week, we will be coming back, same time, same channel, and we are going to break down how the gut and immune system actually work together in this process. And that's where a lot of things will start to make sense. Today it was just kind of the overview, the this is what's going on. Next week we're going to start getting into the meat of things. And where we start to connect even deeper. Um, in the description, this is where I wish I had my slides the most because I am trying to raise funds for food allergy research and education because May is Food Allergy Awareness Month. It's also Celiac Disease Awareness Month. But I'm really trying to raise funds for food allergy research and education. So in the description, I have the link to the fundraiser, and that is where I would love you guys to be able to donate, even if it's $1. Every single dollar makes a difference. So if you could please go ahead and donate, I greatly appreciate that. If you are not finding where the link is within the description, leave a comment in the comments section. My fingers aren't going right. But leave a comment over in the comment section. Is what you need to do is to, and I will get you the link specifically in the comments. If you cannot find that within the description of this video. Raising funds, it doesn't necessarily just benefit me and my family, it benefits everybody in the food allergy world. So I said myself, my kiddo, we both have food allergies. I was hoping to have a picture of my dog up because my dog also has food allergies. We adopted her. She fit perfectly into the family. So if you could please donate, I greatly appreciate it. Fair greatly appreciates it. Um, so like I say, every little dollar helps, whether it's $1 to $1,000, whatever your heart is feeling to donate. I appreciate you. And I will send you a personal thank you if I can figure out how to do that. So, next steps, this is the other thing that I would have loved to show you as well, um, is ways to work with me. If this spoke with you and you're like, hey, I want to work with Samantha some more, I've got a space called Buy It Meshucam, which is home restored. It's about the body, mind, and spirit, holistic health. Again, links down in the description. And then I also have a deeper guided work called the Unraveling Immersion Experience. And if you're just not quite sure if you want to work with me or not, I am offering a free 15-minute call. Again, it's down in the description. So, next week, we are continuing with part two, the gut immune conversation, why food and the body are connected. If today gave you any bit of clarity, next week is where we start to connect. We'll be here, same time, same place. Please share this out with your family and friends because they may not be aware. And then share out next week's. This is a 4-part webinar series. And if you have any questions, the chat is open. Please ask them, whether it's live or if it's on the replay. Ask your questions. I will get to them. If I don't know it right offhand, I will say I will do some research myself and I will get back to you because I have connections. And I want to know, maybe you don't have a question, but maybe you have a reflection of what you learned today. What was the best part that you learned today? As people are typing in their questions. If we have any questions, that is okay. If we don't, that's okay too. Um, I will leave this open for a little bit longer to see if anybody has questions. Otherwise, we will wrap this up a little bit earlier today. Again, I am completely sorry for not having my slides and technology not wanting to work with me today. But this is part of showing up and knowing that it's okay, even though things don't always go the way that you thought it was going to go. You know, old me, speaking of patterns, this is not allergic reaction related, but speaking of old patterns, old me would have been like, I'm done with this live. I'm going to figure this out and then restart it. But here I am just showing up, imperfections and all, because we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a world filled with imperfections, trying to fit the box of perfect. But it bodes the question of what is perfect. There is no perfect life. So we need to stop striving for the perfect and start honoring who we were created to be instead. So, with that, I'm not seeing any questions, but feel free to come back, watch this again, ask the questions as it's going. That's okay. Again, I will be watching to see if there's any questions coming through, and we will see you next week for part two. Have an amazing week. God bless.